Hey folks, let's talk about something we all deal with. Those days when life just piles on the pressure. You know, when your boss is riding you hard, your relationships are a mess, or maybe you're just scrolling through social media, feeling like everyone's got it together, except you. It's easy to feel weak, to crumble under that weight and think, why me? But what if I told you there's a guy from ancient Rome who faced way worse, wars, plagues, betrayals, and came out stronger every time? His name was Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who ruled one of the biggest empires in history, and he didn't just survive, he thrived by building unbreakable mental toughness. Today, we're diving into his guide to stopping that weakness in its tracks. This isn't some fluffy self-help nonsense. It's battle-tested wisdom from a man who lived it. So stick with me, because by the end, you'll have tools to toughen up your mind like never before. First off, who was this Marcus Aurelius guy? He was born in 121 AD in Rome, into a pretty well-off family. But his dad died young, so he grew up with his mom and grandfather calling the shots. As a kid, he got the best education money could buy, learning Greek, Latin, rhetoric, and philosophy from top tutors like Herodes Atticus and Marcus Cornelius Fronto. Philosophy stuck with him the most, especially Stoicism, which is all about living wisely, staying calm in chaos, and focusing on what really matters. By his late teens, he caught the eye of Emperor Hadrian, who basically groomed him to take over. Hadrian adopted Antoninus Pius as his successor, and Antoninus adopted Marcus, setting him up as the next in line. Marcus married Faustina the Younger in 145 AD, and they had a bunch of kids, 14 at least. But sadly, most didn't make it to adulthood. That alone would break a lot of people, but Marcus kept going. When Antoninus died in 161 AD, Marcus became emperor at age 39, ruling alongside his adoptive brother Lucius Verus, until Verus passed away in 169. His reign was no picnic. Right off the bat, there was the Parthian War, from 161 to 166, where the Parthians invaded Roman territories in the east. Lucius Verus led the troops, capturing key cities like Ctesiphon and even installing puppet kings in places like Armenia. But victory came at a cost. A massive plague hit the army and spread back to Rome. Historians call it the Antonine Plague, probably smallpox or measles, and it wiped out millions, maybe 5 to 10 million people across the empire. Imagine leading a nation through that. Bodies piling up, economy tanking, people panicking. Marcus didn't hide in his palace. He stayed involved, even selling off imperial treasures to fund relief efforts. He showed up every day, putting the empire's needs first. Then came the Marcomannic Wars starting in 166, which dragged on until his death in 180. Germanic tribes like the Marcomanni Quadi, plus Sarmatians, crossed the Danube River and invaded Roman lands. Marcus personally led campaigns on the frontier, enduring freezing winters, rough terrain, and constant battles. He even planned new provinces, like Marcomannia, to secure the borders. Amid all this, he dealt with rebellions in places like Egypt and betrayals from generals. His own general Avidius Cassius tried to usurp the throne in 175, forcing Marcus to rush east to quash it. And don't forget natural disasters, like the Tiber River flooding Rome in 162, destroying homes and food supplies. Through it all, Marcus wrote his personal journal in Greek while camped out on the battlefield. We know it today as Meditations, and it's packed with his thoughts on staying mentally strong. It's not a fancy book meant for publication. It's raw, like notes to himself on how to handle the grind, without losing his soul. So what's the first big lesson from Marcus on mental toughness? It's all about controlling your mind, not the world around you. In Meditations, Book 7, he writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that. During the plague, Marcus couldn't stop the disease from spreading, but he could choose how he reacted. He didn't panic or blame the gods. He focused on leading with calm and fairness. In your life, maybe you can't control a job loss or a breakup, but you can control whether you let it spiral you into despair or use it as fuel to get better. Marcus practiced this by reminding himself daily that external stuff, like wars or illnesses, doesn't define you. What defines you is your response. He drew from earlier Stoics like Epictetus, who said, "We're disturbed not by things, but by our views of them." So next time something hits you hard, pause and ask, is this really as bad as I'm making it? Shift your perception, and suddenly you're tougher. Building on that, Marcus taught us to accept what we can't change and focus on what we can. This is the core of Stoicism's dichotomy of control. In Meditations, Book 5, he says, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." During the Marcomannic Wars, tribes kept attacking, and supplies ran low. But Marcus didn't waste energy wishing for peace that wasn't there. Instead, he adapted, training his troops harder, negotiating when possible, and fighting when needed. He even brought in gladiators and slaves to bolster the army when numbers dwindled. In his life, he lost so many children, including his twins in 149 AD. But he channeled that grief into duty, ruling justly and supporting education and welfare reforms. For you, this means letting go of obsessing over traffic or the weather. Pour your energy into your actions, like showing up prepared for that meeting or being kind to a difficult family member. Marcus lived this by starting his days with reflection, thinking about potential challenges and preparing his mind to handle them without complaint. Another key to his toughness was turning obstacles into opportunities. He famously wrote in Meditations, Book 5, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The Antonine Plague could have ended his reign, but Marcus used it to reform the military and economy, making Rome more resilient. When floods hit, he organized aid and rebuilt stronger. In the wars, betrayals like Cassius's rebellion forced him to travel east, but he turned it into a chance to strengthen alliances and inspect provinces. This mindset kept him from getting stuck. Remember when his co-emperor Varus died? Instead of mourning endlessly, Marcus honored him with a grand funeral and kept pushing forward, even bringing his young son Commodus into the fold as co-ruler in 177 to ensure stability. Apply this. If you fail a test, don't quit school. Study smarter next time. Marcus's life shows that toughness isn't avoiding problems. It's flipping them to your advantage. Marcus also stressed practicing virtues every single day, no excuses. The big four in Stoicism are wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, or self-control. In Meditations, Book 1, he thanks his mentors for teaching him these, like his grandfather for modesty and his mother for piety. As emperor, he showed courage on the battlefield, leading charges despite being in his 50s and sickly. Justice meant fair laws. He codified rules to protect slaves and women, and persecuted Christians less harshly than predecessors, though some incidents happened under his watch. Temperance kept him from the excesses of power. No wild parties or corruption. He lived simply, even selling palace items during hard times to help the people. Wisdom came from constant self-reflection. He'd write things like, in Book 4. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That's gold. Stop talking, start doing. In your routine, build habits like journaling your wins and slips or exercising to build discipline. Marcus did this amid chaos, so no excuses for us. Living in the present was huge for him too. In Meditations, Book 6, he warns, "Forget the future. When and if it comes, you'll have the same resources to draw on, the same reason." During campaigns, he didn't dwell on past losses or future uncertainties. He focused on the day's battles. The plague raged for years, but he handled one crisis at a time: quarantines, burials, support for victims. This kept his mind sharp and prevented burnout. Try it. When anxiety hits about tomorrow, ground yourself in now. What can you do right this second? Marcus's meditations are full of these reminders because he knew the mind wanders, but training it back builds toughness. He also believed in drawing strength from others while staying kind. In Book 6, he says, "When you need encouragement, think of the qualities the people around you have. This one's energy, that one's modesty." Despite betrayals, Marcus forgave where possible, like sparing Cassius's family after the rebellion. He treated soldiers with respect, sharing hardships on the frontier. Kindness wasn't weakness, it was strength, making allies and keeping morale high. In Rome, he funded schools and orphanages, showing justice in action. For us, surround yourself with good people, learn from them, and respond to rudeness with calm. Marcus wrote in Book 9, "Kindness is invincible, provided it's sincere." That kept him resilient when everything else fell apart. Don't forget memento mori, remember you're going to die. Sounds grim, but Marcus used it to fuel toughness. In Meditations, Book 4. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. He buried kids, lost friends to plague, and knew his own health was failing. Rheumatism, stomach issues. But it pushed him to make every day count. On his deathbed in 180 AD at Vindobona, modern Vienna, he reportedly said, "Weep not for me. Think rather of the pestilence and the deaths of so many others." Even dying, he thought of the empire. This perspective cuts through weakness. Why stress small stuff when life's short? Wrapping this up, Marcus Aurelius wasn't born tough. He built it through daily practice, reflection, and Stoic principles. His life, plagues, wars, personal losses, proves mental toughness isn't about being unbreakable. It's about bending without snapping, turning pain into power. From Meditations to the battlefield, he showed us how. So stop being weak. Start applying this today. Control your mind, flip obstacles, live virtues, stay present. You'll be amazed at your strength. If this fired you up, hit that subscribe button for more wisdom that actually works. Share it with a friend who's going through tough times. They'll thank you. And drop a comment. What's one obstacle in your life right now that you can turn into an opportunity? Let's build that toughness together.